guys, and welcome to my channel. I wasn't gonna post today and I knew you guys would understand, but I got a lot of DMs over the past few days asking me what happened to Lola. You guys were really concerned. You guys had dogs that were admitted or really ill or going in for an operation. So I thought this Tuesday I'm gonna get my energy back up, my strength back together, and make this video for you guys. This is not obviously similar to the other videos I've done. I just recorded stories for Instagram, but there were way too many stories explaining the situation. So now I'm sitting in front of the camera hoping to do a better job, and I have a puppy behind me. I hope this video will help you guys and help you save your fur babies, because I don't want this to happen to any one of you out there, because it's such a painful experience to go through. I want to tell you guys in detail what my family and I went through for the past 2 weeks, and most importantly what Lola went through. To some people it's just a pet, but to me my pets are my family. I don't have many genuine people in my life, so my dogs are my everything. I never thought that I would lose Lola so early on. I'm trying to head out today, trying to get my energy back, but I thought I would record this for you guys because it's really important. Life goes on, I have to get back to starting reviews again, but I just kind of wanted to take this week off and just spend time with the pups and just be at home and with Booba. So I really hope any information shared in this video will help you guys. If you have any concerns that I probably may have missed out in this video, I have written some notes here and I hope I don't forget. My mind has been all over the place these past 2 weeks, but I hope I mention everything possible, and if I forget anything I'll leave a comment down below. So I've been going to my vet for 5 years, and she sterilized Booba. She's been taking care of Lola and also the pups with their vaccines, and I have been going to her I think for about 5 years now. I had no reason to doubt her or the way she practices, because she's been my vet for a couple of years now and nothing went wrong with any of the dogs until I took Lola there on the 2nd of June. Slightly over 2 months after Lola gave birth and she stopped feeding, she wasn't producing milk anymore. A lot of people told me to get her sterilized, and I thought it was a good idea as well, because sometimes dogs can get really ill if they get pregnant for the second time. And Lola has this habit of always running out of the gate. She doesn't listen no matter how many times we put her in and lock the door. If a visitor comes home, they don't know, they just open the gate and walk in, and Lola runs out. And this is one reason she got pregnant so early, and I didn't expect it. Once she stopped feeding the pups, took her to the vet at 8 a.m. and I had to leave her there because I didn't have any cash on hand. So I had to go to the ATM, got the money, and I came back. The operation was done. I brought Lola home, separated the pups from Lola so they weren't close with Lola. Lola was in my room most of the time. And after 2 or 3 days of the operation, I noticed that Lola was starting to act a bit strange. She was weaker, she didn't have much energy, and I thought, oh, maybe because after the operation she's in a lot of pain. And then I took her to the vet after 2 days. The vet said, she has fever, and so she treated Lola for the fever. So I brought her home and I noticed that she wasn't getting better. So for 4 days in a row I took Lola to see our vet. Got to a point where we all kind of noticed her eyes weren't looking the same. Her eyes had gone into her face, and her ears were getting tightened and getting pulled to the top of her head. I took her to the vet the next day. It was driving me to the vet every single day. I'm so grateful for it. I went to the vet the next morning, early morning. I told her, I was like, this is not fever, something is wrong. She checked Lola's fever again and it was at 104, and she was like, no, this is high fever. And I was like, are you sure this happens to a dog's eyes and ears when they have high fever? She's like, yes, because 104 is extremely high. I treated Lola for fever again. I told the vet that Lola wasn't drinking or eating, can we put on saline, can we put Lola on the drip? And she said, no, it's not necessary. I brought Lola home and she got even more worse the next day. So I took Lola again, and this is my mistake, that I kept going to the same vet. Hopefully my story or my advice can help you guys. If your dog is not getting better within the next 2 days or 3 days of seeing that vet, please go to another vet, get a second or third opinion. Sometimes one person can be careless, and yeah. Next day I took her to the vet and I said, this is not fever, can you please check what's wrong with my dog? This time Lola was like cement. She was rock hard, she couldn't bend her limbs. Oh, this is going to be so hard to edit. But it was really hard, it was so stiff, and she couldn't open her jaw properly, and she just looked so worried, and I was crying the entire time, and I was like, this is not okay, what is wrong with my dog? She doesn't have fever. And then the vet goes like, oh, this looks like tetanus. I was like, tetanus? And then the vet said it's really rare. She's seeing this for the second time after her university, and that this is mostly common in horses. So I was like, how did she get tetanus? And then the vet said it has to go through an opening. Some germ has to go into her body through the soil. So I'm thinking the operation, this happened a few days after the operation. Lola has been in the garden in our house for years now, and all of a sudden after this operation she gets tetanus and a germ enters her body. The vet kept denying it, saying no, maybe a puppy scratched her. It has to be a deep cut. I checked with 4 other vets how deep the cut has to be, and they were like, it's impossible that it went through any other way. And it took some time for the other vets to confirm it was the operation. It wasn't like they were running down my vet or they were trying to give my vet a bad name. After my vet had said it was tetanus, she still didn't treat Lola for tetanus. She was like, you know, I'm not 100% sure if it's tetanus. I have to do a few tests. Now guys, this is almost a week after Lola got sick. I have to do a few tests and see. And I went home and I researched it, and it said tetanus. All her symptoms said it was tetanus, but I was so scared because I'm not a professional. I don't know anything about dogs when it comes to sicknesses. So desperate, and I asked you guys to recommend any vets that you guys knew, and so many of you DM me. I'm so grateful to every single one of you, and I'll get to that in a bit. And a lot of you guys recommended this place in Batharamulla. I found one sweet girl who recommended. I saw her message the first. It's not her fault that she recommended this vet. After she recommended the place, we went online, we checked the reviews, and we decided to go there. I just had to mention that because she was feeling so bad, and I felt so sad because it is not her fault. And when we went there, my sister met one of her friends at the vets too, and she was like, oh yeah, this doctor is really good, he's one of the best, we always come to him. So I had a little bit of hope. I was like, finally we have a few opinions on this vet and people say he's good. Go to him, and then the first thing he's like, this is not tetanus, this is brain damage, it's curable, it takes a longer period of time. And I didn't care if I had to stay home for another 3 months, if I had to cancel all my work to take care of Lola even for the rest of the year. I was like, okay, she can be cured. I'm so happy that it was brain damage. He injected her with 4 different things, and he gave me a long list of medicines to get her. So I got that. On that day, my family and I, we were positive. We were like, okay, Lola can be cured. And he even said if it's tetanus, she wouldn't last this long. Brought her home, and then when we tried to give her the medication, her jaws were clenched so tight, and my sister had to hold her body down. Dad was pouring in the medicine, I was trying to open her mouth, and it just wasn't working. And I knew if I hadn't taken Lola somewhere and admitted her, she wouldn't make it through the night. And I posted another story. For this entire week, guys, I was only posting about Lola being sick on my stories. So it really meant a lot that you guys had been messaging me for a week straight. It really meant a lot, because that support and you guys sharing me your stories and your positivity really helped me get through it in a way. While I was asking you guys on Instagram, my dad had a friend who had contacts in a clinic in Colombo. So he contacted one of the doctors, and she was like, come immediately. Even though it said 24 hours, I was trying to call them for more than half an hour and nobody picked up. So we ended up taking Lola at 10 o'clock in the night, and I was still thinking that it's going to be fine. She was just looking at me the whole time, and I was telling her like, you're going to be fine, everything is going to be okay. Also guys, I asked the doctor in Batharamulla, I said, doctor, she's not eating, she's not drinking, can you put her on saline? Does she need saline? He was like, no, it's not necessary. 2 vets told me that she doesn't need the drip. Even when a human is sick and when we don't eat or drink, the first thing that a hospital does is put us on the drip, give us saline. As soon as I took her to the clinic, the first thing the vet asked me was, has she been on the drip? And I said no, and even she was shocked. And I was so mad, up to a point where I couldn't even trust a professional to take care of my dog's life and her health. And they took a blood test of her, and this doctor was like, I can't confirm if it's tetanus, we have to do a blood test first. Within this week, this was the first time that Lola has done a blood test to see what she had. The doctor told me it's highly unlikely that Lola is going to survive, but she has to be admitted here today. And I was like, fine, just admit her, do whatever you can. And my heart sank, because knowing that Lola might not be able to make it, I wanted to be next to her because I didn't know how long she was going to be here. And yeah, that night I had to leave her. I cried the whole night in my room. Lola was admitted for 3 nights and 4 days. I was there every single day, 3 or 4 times of the day. Hours I was there beside Lola, and I was checking up on her, and it was so painful to see her that way. If you guys follow me on Instagram, You guys know how hyper and how playful she is, and she's just such a nutcase in general. So just seeing her, or any dog in general, I could see a dog on the street suffering or me trying to help him, and just a dog I haven't known my whole life dying, I would cry for like hours with that dog. Animals suffer in general is heartbreaking because they aren't able to voice their pain, they aren't able to ask for water, they aren't able to tell us. That in general is just heartbreaking. Lola was having fever constantly and she was having fits. So her body would just clench and she would just have fits minute after minute, and she was in pain. On the last day when I went to see her, she was moved to a back room because it had to be quiet, no lights. So that was better, and I appreciated that the staff did that for her. When I was going out, because one of the puppies were there, I was going to check on the puppy and come back to Lola, she was crying, and that was the first time since she got sick that she was crying so loud for me. So I went back and I was like, why Lola? And I just sat on the floor and I just cried. The whole 2 weeks I wasn't praying anymore, I was begging God. I was literally begging God to save Lola. And I wasn't just praying to God to keep her safe after she got sick. I've been praying to God to keep my dogs safe the moment they walked into my life. So it wasn't just me asking God to keep her safe after she got sick. And I remember I was just begging God at this point, saying like, I'll do whatever, I'll do whatever. And Lola was just crying. And the vet comes up to me and she's like, you know, it's a very costly process. I was like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. If Lola has a slight chance, I don't want her to suffer. If there's a slight chance of you saving her, please do whatever you can. It's happy that I had the money, and I was also really grateful that I had a family who was backing me up, willing to pay, wanting to chip in, wanting to help me out financially if it got to a point I couldn't afford it. I remember one of her injections was just 22,500, just one of them. And I was thinking, okay, if Lola has to be admitted for 2 months or 1.5 months, how can I afford it if just one injection is this much? I knew one way or the other that money always comes and goes, and I knew one way or the other I will start working again and I will be okay, because it's extremely costly, especially to keep your dog admitted overnight. Overnight charges are expensive in general, apart from her medication. And I just sat there and I prayed. In a way, I was happy because she was responsive. I thought she was responding to me leaving, asking me not to go. That evening, my sister and I went to see Lola, and they had to make an opening in her neck and pass a tube through her neck to feed her because she wasn't eating and she was losing a lot of weight and energy. And my sister and I went to see her, and she was shivering and having constant fits, and we were there for a long time with Lola, and no one came to check up on her. And this was in the evening, and I was thinking, I'm paying so much for overnight charges, why isn't anyone checking up on her? And then once we told the staff, they started taking care of her, and I don't know how long she was like that for. When I got home that night, I couldn't sleep. I was like, is someone checking up on her when I'm asleep? How can I possibly be asleep knowing that maybe someone is not checking up on Lola at this moment, not helping her? I had a lot of what ifs in my head. What if I didn't take Lola to that vet? What if I admitted Lola earlier? What if I had stayed with Lola overnight, if that was a possibility? I had a lot of what ifs, a lot of regrets, and a lot of guilt, and I still do. And that night I finally went to sleep around 12:30 a.m. and I woke up at 2, and I texted him and I was like, I had a dream of Lola, and I still remember the dream. I saw her as a puppy. This is gonna sound so funny. People who don't love dogs or haven't had dogs as pets or haven't lost a dog, it took me losing Lola to properly understand the pain of losing a dog. Because I have lost cats my whole life, and eventually I got used to it because I had a lot of cats that I lost over the years. But this was my first time losing a dog. Much closer to my dogs than I am to my cats. Dream, I saw Lola as a puppy, and her face was so big. It was really close to my face, and there was this light behind her. She looked happy and at peace. She just looked healthy. She just looked good. And I woke up sweating, and I texted him and I was like, I had a dream of Lola. And I kept praying the whole time because I knew it was her time to go in a way. Called the clinic so many times after that dream. It is a 24-hour clinic, but nobody picked up. And I just knew, I just had this feeling after I saw that dream. The next morning when I woke up and I was getting ready, I get a call from the vet saying you need to calm because Lola is getting worse and you need to take the decision. This was the phone call that I was dreading the entire time since Lola got sick and Lola got admitted, and I just got ready, completely a mess. I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what I was packing. Then we rushed to the clinic. I see Lola on the floor and she sees me and she's even more responsive and she's just crying. She was telling me she can't bear this pain anymore. She was in a lot of pain, and it is the hardest decision, guys, to put someone to sleep, your dog. And I don't know how people do this with their families. I know people have to take bigger decisions if a family member gets sick, and I just can't imagine what they go through at that moment. I was on the floor with Lola, hugging her, and then since Hiran adopted one of her puppies, he had nowhere to keep the puppy, so we brought the puppy with us. And Lola wanted this girl right here, and Lola wanted her next to her. She was crying for the puppy, and she just slept next to Lola on the floor. And seeing them recognize each other and just connect and just be next to each other. I was just crying the whole time. Sister got off work early and then she came there with her boyfriend, and all of us sat on the floor while the vet came and slowly put her to sleep. I hugged Lola so tight. Until her heart stopped gradually, and you can just imagine the atmosphere at this moment. We were all crying, and I just apologized to Lola at that moment. Pretty sure the lighting has changed because my camera shut down. I'm hoping to get better lights so it won't keep doing this, because I know it's really annoying to watch. Back to the story. Hugging Lola's face so tight as her heart stopped gradually, and just like that she left us in seconds. And I held her for an hour after she passed. Her eyes wouldn't close, and the nurse said it's normal that dogs' eyes don't close. I sat there for an hour with Lola on my lap, and I immediately updated the 3 friends that were constantly checking up on me for that entire week and a half. We brought her home with the people that were going to bury her. I knew I wanted to bury Lola at home. I knew I didn't want her anywhere else but home. That way she would always be with me. And when we brought her home, her eyes closed slowly. It was like she knew she was at home. We managed to keep the other dogs like Booba and the pups separate because we didn't want them to see that, and especially where Lola was getting buried, in case they go and dig it. We're going to make it a little place for Lola. We're going to grow some flowers over it and get her little name on a little stone so we can fix on the wall. I'm so grateful that my dad is supportive with all of this. I can't imagine people who lose a pet and their parents don't understand the pain. One vet messed up her operation, and it's most likely because she didn't close Lola's operation properly. She treated her for fever for almost a week. The second vet diagnosed the wrong sickness and gave her the wrong medication. How can I trust a professional again? I have so much anxiety now when it comes to taking my dogs to a vet again. I'm so scared to put my dog's life in a professional's hands because this has happened. I know there are amazing and good vets out there, and it's just going to take me time to trust another one. I'm telling you guys, please seek a second or third opinion on your pet if you have to. Please don't stick to one, because sometimes something like this may happen to you and I don't want it to happen to you. So please seek a second or third opinion if your dog is not getting better within the second or third day. It sucks when you give your dog so much love and you keep them on your bed and you hug them and you kiss them and you cuddle them and you just spoil them, and they end up suffering and spending their last days away from their family in a clinic. I just want to thank every single one of you who reached out for that entire week. I was only posting of her because in a way I had a feeling she would recover. Had I known Lola was not going to make it, I would never be posting stories. But I posted a lot of her being sick, going to the vet, and so many of you reached out to Lola and I. And this is one thing I love about social media. If it's used in the right way, people can really connect and uplift and be there for each other. And you guys sharing me your stories really helped me pull through as well. Still haven't opened many DMs and thank you guys individually, so I hope thanking you guys now will be enough. Really thankful and grateful to you. I just want to mention 2 other things. I received a DM during the times I was at the vet with Lola. I had nothing else to do other than pray when I was sitting next to her, so I would just be on Instagram checking my DMs or checking who viewed my stories. There was this DM of a girl saying she saw me at the clinic and I looked disturbed and unfriendly. I really think you shouldn't be judging people, and it's extremely rude to DM someone like that. I feel like if you see someone in a hospital, clinics, wherever the place is, in general you shouldn't be judging people, especially at places like hospitals, clinics, or at funerals. You don't know what the person is going through. Maybe you're just there for a vaccination for your pet, and maybe the other person is there choosing between life or death for their pet. So be kind always. To the companies that kept constantly DMing me for collaborations, knowing the situation I was going through, because I was so shocked that companies would still be like, can you do this collaboration, can we send you this package? So inconsiderate. And these were companies that were checking my stories and knew what was up. There were two companies that I couldn't collaborate with, who I did confirm with prior to Lola getting sick, and I sent them a message saying Lola is in a critical condition and I won't be able to do the promotion for them. These two companies left me on red and didn't even bother replying, and to me, in a way, that is customer service, and I wouldn't want to work with them again. So many companies that were understanding that to cancel or push back work, and I'm so happy to be working with them in the future. So this was Lola's story, and many of you asked me what happened, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to tell you guys. I just had to find the strength to speak. Life goes on. When I was getting a dog, that there will come a point when they have to leave. Everyone has to leave. All have to leave one day. But I never thought that it would be so soon with Lola, because of the carelessness of a person, carelessness of a vet, carelessness of me, that a poor innocent animal had to suffer so much. And my sister and I couldn't eat for days. I would feel disgusted when I ate because Lola couldn't eat, and I would feel so much guilt, like it was my fault. Had I taken Lola to a better clinic from day one? I hope you guys maybe learn something. If you're taking your dog to the same vet, I can't stress on this enough. Please seek another opinion or two. Two vets messed up with Lola, gave her the wrong medication. Puppies go near her grave often, and it's really sad to see that. And they don't know where she was buried, but obviously the soil is messed up there until we make her grave properly. Decided to keep this pup because she's the most similar to Lola, and I hope I can make it up to her by taking care of her babies. She's passed out. Next video will also be dedicated to Lola. It's less sad, less serious, and it'll be a vlog. I couldn't vlog much the past 2 weeks, and you guys know why. Try my best to get back at it, and it's gonna be a half vlog. I really want to say thank you to every one of you who messaged. I can't thank you guys enough, and I'm sorry if this video is all over the place and if I'm rambling. Really trying to just go out today, take the puppies out, and just distract myself from what's going on. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I love you guys, and I'm so grateful to have you guys on my Instagram and YouTube, and I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. Bye.